Okay. Let's see if the audio is working today. All right. We are in business. Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. Today we got a deal in Kissimmee, Florida, 34744. For those of you on Instagram, please make sure if you do want to see the full screen version, go to youtube.com/@Ken_HG. Today we got a deal with a $22,000 supposedly entry fee. It says down payment. Nothing about the assignment or anything. So let's see. Total price $334,000. Interest rate 5.5%. The monthly PITI, monthly payments, $2,309.54. Single family home, $370,000. $370,400. All right. Let's see. Look at some photos really quick on the property. It has a pool. Here's some photos listed by the wholesaler. There's a cage on the pool. Looks like a garage door that looks enclosed. Interesting. Floors are fine. I'll probably just have some money to paint the place. Use tile floors. I'll probably replace the carpet. Okay. Let's see. Look at Redfin that I just load up. This is Osceola County. Cool. Let's see. Any other photos in here that I did not see from earlier? Okay. Slightly more photos inside the home. Kitchen is a little dated. I probably at least repaint the cabinets and replace the hardware to make it a little bit nicer. Countertops, whatever. I'll probably replace the entire flooring. Looks like there's some backyard space. So that's kind of nice. There's a pool. So this seems like a pretty solid area. How about the schools? How do they look? Schools are 3s and 10s. Not bad. All right. Cool. Let's keep going. Let's do a street drive-by on the street right here. Nothing that sticks out about the neighborhood to me. It looks like a pretty normal suburban neighborhood in Florida. Okay. Nothing out of the ordinary. Let me check the crime really quick. Boom, 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 boom. 1240. Wind. Way. Circle. There we go. Go to topout.com. What we're doing is checking for the crime index score on this property. This is 76, below the national average, so that's a pretty good safe area. That works for me. Next thing I want to see is they actually provided the mortgage statement on this property that's submitted by the seller. So this would be the loan that you're taking over subject to existing financing. So what I'm pulling up from this number here is 2309.13. So that matches, right? 2309.54, 2309.13. So that's pretty much matches to the dollar on what you can expect to make on a payment every single month. All right, cool. So 2309, I'm going to keep that in mind. Next thing we want to do, we want to go to HUD FMR because we want to look for the fair market rents on a HUD's website. When we go and Google HUD FMR, it will bring you to the HUD's website, and it should bring you down to the bottom of the area where you can click on access to small area FMRs. You can click that one up, and you go to the state, and then you can go to the county, Osceola. And this was, what zip code was this? 34744, 34744, a 3-bedroom home here. It's 2,200, 3-bedroom home, 2,200. So I'm going to note that in my spreadsheet, on my other spreadsheet right now, 2,200. And then the 4-bedroom is 2,650. The reason I'm grabbing the rents for 3 and 4 bedrooms because I saw that there was a garage. So I'm thinking out loud to myself, what if there was an opportunity to creatively add an extra bedroom in the garage? So maybe I can get extra $450 a rent, but we're not sure, right? We're going to go and look up the market rents first. So we want to look at 1240 Win-Win Circle, and we're going to go to affordablehousing.com owner section, market rent estimator. When we plug in the address, we're going to plug in the rents for a 3-bedroom first and see what that says. Once you get over here, you will be able to see that, boom, on the far right, you're going to see that it's this 0.77 mile radius. The average rent or market rent for the property in this area is 2045. Okay, not bad. 2262. And now I want to get the rents for a 4-bedroom. What can I get as a 4-bedroom here? 2474. Okay, 2474. 2474. Now, these are the rents that I'm going to use because it basically says within a 1.94 mile radius that the average rents for 24 units that are 4 bedrooms in this area is 2474. And the reason that this number matters is because there is a test. It's called the rent reasonableness test. And rent reasonableness test basically says even though that the maximum rent for 34744 in this zip code for a 4-bedroom is 2650, you cannot charge a rent above market simply because they're a voucher holder. Now, could this potentially be a higher number because there's a pool? Maybe. But that's something that you would probably either have to call. I don't know if it's whether it's the county housing administration or housing authority or the Kissimmee Housing Authority, whichever one it is. That would be a good number or a good question to ask that housing authority and ask them why do they think or what sort of amenities do they take into consideration on how to determine what's a fair market rent for that area. That's reasonable. Now, the last thing I'll do is usually I go to PropStream to just double check the numbers here, right? If you have watched any of our prior lives, you would have seen that when you go to PropStream, you look up the address. When you click on the mortgage section right here, that's where it'll bring up existing details about the loan. So right here on this spreadsheet, on PropStream's platform, they're saying this loan was originated in 7/21/2022. The original balance was 328,932, and estimated rate was 5.23. But we saw that the interest rate was actually 5.5. So that's pretty close. But this shows you that sometimes the numbers on PropStream is not accurate. So that's why when you do the due diligence, it's very important that you get a recent, if not the most recent, mortgage statement from the seller or the wholesaler, whoever's marketing the deal to you, and figure out what you need to do. So this is the estimated loan payment is 1812. Does that equal right to my calculator right now? 1867. Yeah, it's pretty close. So that means that the rest of it is probably property taxes and insurance, which makes sense because that was covered right here in the escrow amount. All right. Awesome. Cool. So here's what we are going to do next. I am going to stop sharing this window. I'm going to share the entire screen here. So that you guys can see how I'm plugging in the numbers here. All right. This property was, I was listed for 334, 400. 334,000. And I'm going to go to the rehab calculator. And this property was how many square feet? 1173. Okay. At 1173, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set aside $1,500 for the roof, $500 to clean up the landscaping. I might even add an extra $500 in this scenario because there's a pool, and sometimes those pools can get really grimy and nasty. Sometimes you have to do like an acid wash there to kind of clean it up. So I'm gonna leave it there. Painting, I'm gonna put in the entire square footage here, 1173 at $3 a square foot. I'm going to replace. There's some flooring here that looks good in wood, so I might just replace half the flooring. 1173 divided by 2, so that's 587 square feet. There was a washer and dryer already, so I'm gonna take that out. I'm gonna repaint the cabinets and do some new hardware. Don't think I need a new range or a new range hood. How does the bathroom look? Does anybody remember? Let's see. There were no photo. Bathroom's fine actually, so I don't really care about the bathroom. So I'm gonna zero out all these items that I had for the bathroom. And then I'm assuming because someone's living there right now with the evidence of the furniture, the water heater is working. Now, I'm not going to add any new mini split because I'm assuming right now I'm keeping it as a 3-bedroom property to see what my numbers look like. So this becomes a 21 grand rehab roughly. So let me make sure I link this number back up to the rehab calculator. And boom, there's my 21,253. Okay. Monthly income rents. Right now, I'm assuming it's a 3-bedroom, and I'm going to use my market rent that I got from 2045. That's 2045. Now, my monthly property taxes and insurance, I'm going to use that number, which is 2309.54. So I'm going to make that equals 2309.54 minus the principal minus the interest. That's 441. I'm going to add extra $30 for maintenance every single month. There is no HOA on this property, from what I remember. Yep. And let's see. So this is not a deal. Why? Because if your rent is 2045 and your monthly payment is 2309, that usually doesn't work. And especially with given how high insurance expenses have been going, that doesn't look very promising. Even if you say, well, what if I got to my best case scenario at 2650? Will I be able to cash flow at that point? No, still is negative, right? So at 2045, I would be losing theoretically. Let's do 2045. My cash flow per month is minus 723 here. My cash and cash return is negative 19.5% return. So this is nowhere even close to being a deal that just does not work for me. And this was assuming a rehab of 21253. The problem with some of the Florida properties right now, and personally why I'm staying away from it, again, this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments. I'm personally staying away from Florida because I don't trust what the insurance industry is currently doing. And with the insurance industry continuously hiking rates every single month, it takes a lot of the control out of my hands, meaning I can do my best at underwriting and figure out that this property can cash flow. However, if for some reason there's more hurricanes or climate change is a bigger deal than people thought, and a lot more companies decide to raise their interest rates or exit the market, right? Now all of a sudden those are all decisions that were completely out of your hand, no matter how good your underwriting was. So that makes it a little bit more risky for me. And I haven't even plugged in the entry cost yet for this deal. At this point in time, what I think, as I'm getting close to the end of the 100 days of underwriting deals consecutively on live with all of you, what I want to start showing all of you is like, at what point do you stop underwriting the deals? In this scenario, I probably would have stopped as soon as I saw that the market rent was 2474. Because even though the monthly payment here was 2309, some people might say, well, if the maximum rent is 2650 and the monthly payment is 2300, just using round numbers, well, shouldn't I cash flow $350? My honest opinion is no, because you did not account for the money that you're setting aside for maintenance every single month. You're not setting aside money for property management. Some folks might say, well, I'm just going to self-manage it. Well, what if you don't know the landlord-tenant laws very well? What if you do something that might be accidentally, unintentionally discriminatory by accident, right? What if you didn't write your lease correctly and now you have a bad tenant and now you don't know how to get them out, right? And some people don't even put any money for vacancy, because eventually, at some point, when you have property, there will be a month where you are going to be empty. Not putting in any vacancy expenses, that's a little irresponsible. Not putting any maintenance is a little irresponsible, because how can you expect nothing to ever break at your home? You don't think you need to do any maintenance at your home? How about like an HVAC tune-up? How about flushing a water heater? How about doing some roof repairs? What if a hurricane comes through and causes some damage with the trees around you and you got to do a yard cleanup? Where do you think this money is coming from? So I think the biggest mistake, and I see how people market their deals, is they just take the PITI, which is 2,300, and subtract that from the rent, which is, let's just say best case scenario was 2,650, because that was the FMR for a 4-bedroom. And they'll say, well, cash flow 350. That's absolutely not the case, especially when after you set aside some of the money, because everything needs to get replaced at some point. Your roof needs to get replaced, your HVAC, your water heater, et cetera, et cetera. So that money does not belong to you. And for you to pretend it does belong to you, that's just not wise. So hopefully this was helpful for everyone. This is Christmas Eve, so I really appreciate everyone's time for joining in today and still underwriting deals with me. I am going to stay consistent. I committed to underwriting deals live for 100 days in a row. So all of you can, if you do want to do this, well, maybe you can just copy what I'm doing every single day and analyze the deal with me every single day. Analyze the same property using the same spreadsheet. Just DM me on Instagram at investwithkenthhe if you do want a copy of the spreadsheet, and I'd be happy to send it to you. Because at the end of this day, taking the first step is hard. Taking the next couple of steps is hard. But what I'm hoping this review will reveal to you is, hey, what are my next steps? Well, my next step might just be, let me just copy whatever Ken is doing. And then all of a sudden, now you, my own, quote unquote, my own, your own YouTube channel will also have 100 videos on there that when a partner asks you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? You can simply say, well, go check out my YouTube channel. I know this is a deal because I've looked at the past 100 deals and they were all not deals. Or here were the ones that were close to being a deal, but they still weren't deals based on our criteria. And that shows you that you have discipline. It shows your partners that you have experience doing this, so you're just not making this up. And number three, most importantly, I was so scared when I started in real estate. I didn't know what a deal looked like. And the only way to do it is to do it. So hopefully this inspires all of you to take some action, put this on your own YouTube channel, analyze the deal with me every single day, and let's do it together. Let's just get better together. I don't claim to be an expert at anything. I'm just super passionate about affordable housing. So I'm so grateful for everyone that tuned in today, that will be watching this replay later. Thank you so much for caring about affordable housing. Without folks like you, I would never have the home I grew up in. So this is my way of giving back with that I know best. I love underwriting deals. So this is why I do this live every single day. And then, hey, if this gets good feedback, then I'll keep this going maybe after my 100 days are up. So for those of you that I won't talk to you tomorrow, Merry Christmas. Spend some quality time with your family and friends. If I might have one suggestion, I interviewed my grandma. When I went back to her, she turned 94 this past week, and I interviewed her and I got her story. And I found out so many things about her life that I never knew before. And if you're someone that is seeking motivation right now, that is looking for a passion or trying to figure out what your passion is. Hey, Kevin, good to hear from you, man. If you're someone that's out there, you're seeking out passion, I hope you guys will be able to find that your passion might already be within you. Your motivation is probably within your family or came from your family already. Whether that's a story from an immigrant family or some hardship that we all experience in life from a family or a friend, I hope you spend some time and interview them, because I'm so glad I interviewed my grandma, because I can make sure that with that recording, I can continue passing on her story to my daughter, her great granddaughter. I found out things that, man, my grandma did not. Let me get out of this. Stop sharing. I found out my grandma lost her mom at 8 years old, and she started working for free as a servant in China. Her first job that was unpaid, she worked at a hotel. She worked all day, all night. And what did she work for? She worked all day, all night because she did it for food. At the end of the night, when she got back, she went back to an abandoned home with about 3 or 4 other girls, and they shared a home and they split the chores. An abandoned home. Her first paid job came from her hotel job, because she started lugging luggage for 3 to 4 hours each way every single day from the train station to the hotel. That's how she made money. Because back then there weren't carriages or there weren't Ubers yet. So what she did for money was she lugged around some luggage. And she did that for such a long time. And I found out when she came over from China to America to help babysit myself and my brother, she didn't want to come, because it was in a country where she didn't know the language and she didn't know anybody. And she told me when she took my brother and me to school, when she first came over to America, she would go up and drop us off at school, and then she would walk up to the public garden, which is about a 10-minute walk away from the school, and she would cry because she was so lonely. That's heartbreaking to know that your grandma went through so much emotionally and mentally to come over to a new country, but it was so hard in the beginning. Imagine being in a country where you didn't know anything 'cause she never went to school. She didn't know how to read. She didn't even know how to use the elevator at first until someone taught her. Isn't that crazy? But that's a life, and I feel so privileged this holiday season to be doing what I'm doing, thanks to all the sacrifices that all of our ancestors have went through for us. And I'm so grateful to be able to pay for everything that I've learned back to this group and to this community. So thank you so much for joining in on the lives. Thank you so much for caring about affordable housing. Without people, I really would have never had the home I grew up in. So thank you so much for being part of the community. Let's do something really, really cool together in 2024. But first, all you can control is what you do on a daily basis. And sometimes what you do on a daily basis, it's going to feel like you're not making any progress. But if you continue to focus on just getting 1% better every single day, all of a sudden in a year from now, you might be better than 95% of the world. So thank you for tuning in to live. DM me on Instagram if you guys have any questions. DM me on Instagram at investwithkenhe if you guys want me to look at any deals for you. I don't claim to be an expert. Again, I'm just super passionate about this because I grew up in affordable housing. So thank you so much. You all have an amazing day. Merry Christmas. Spend some quality time with your family. And if you can, please record an interview with somebody. Your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your brother, your siblings. It doesn't matter who it is. Record an interview so that you can continue telling their stories, because you never know when that day might come when they're not here anymore. And I don't want anybody to have that regret. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day. I'm going to have a lot of fun with my daughter today. Have a good one. Bye.